I'm John Amos, and welcome aboard Halley's Comet. People ask me, how is it that you came to form this foundation, and what exactly is it about? Well, the why of it is equally as important. When I was a social worker back in New York in the late 60s, I worked at the Brooklyn House of Detention and the Tombs in Manhattan, the infamous penal institution in Manhattan for adults. The Brooklyn House of Detention, of course, was focused on administering to young people, juveniles as it were. It's the haunting faces of those young people that I met during the 60s, those thousands of young people who went down, whose lives went down the drain without any hope of redemption or salvation. That's what prompted me and compelled me, in fact, to form the Halley's Comet Foundation and to make it an instrument for positive change in the lives of young people. Now, lest you think that the Halley's Comet Foundation is directed only towards inner city youth with all the concomitant problems of poverty and the blight of inner cities, you're wrong. Nothing could be further from the truth. It is our contention at the Halley's Comet Foundation that all children, regardless of their ethnicity or their economic background or the environment in which they live, that all children can benefit from involvement in our program. The bottom line is the Halley's Comet Foundation is on a mission to provide positive opportunities for life-changing experiences for all of our young people. They're the ones that are going to inherit these oceans, inherit the world. They're going to be our leaders of tomorrow. Our mission, and I can tell you as the founder of this foundation, is to provide as many positive opportunities for not just the children here in Mexico or in my own home country, the United States, but for children all over the world, all over these United States. This is John Amos for the Halley's Comet Foundation. The Halley's Comet Foundation has received tremendous, greatly appreciated support from both governmental agencies as well as those in the private sector. In the governmental agency side, the United States Coast Guard has been very supportive, but equally as supportive has been the New York State National Guard Young Mariners of America program under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel David Slocum. In the private sector, Mr. Randy Repass, the CEO of West Marine, has been incredibly supportive. In addition, in the private sector, Mr. J.J. Marie, the CEO of the Zodiac Corporation, graciously provided us with an inflatable dinghy in our very first year of existence. So to all of these gentlemen, we say thank you very much on behalf of all those at the Halley's Comet Foundation, as well as the young people we attempt to serve. Thank you. Just as every ship needs a captain, so does every foundation need a leader or an executive director. Despite founding the foundation, I knew that I had to call on someone who had appreciably more sailing experience and maritime experience than myself. Bill Harmon was the obvious choice. Bill Harmon had taught me the basic fundamentals of sailing as a member of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Bill developed the concept of capture and counsel. We capture a young person's interest and imagination and attention through our maritime educational and on-the-water programs, because Bill believes, as I do, that if you have a youngster on board for 2 hours, just 2 hours, they'll never forget it for the rest of their lives. We counsel our young people into various career opportunities available to them in the maritime and marine sciences arena. The second executive director of the Halley's Comet Foundation was none other than Vince Patton III, Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard, retired. I thank both of you gentlemen, Bill Harmon and Vince Patton, for believing in the foundation and believing in our mission when we were just getting started. Thank you. So far, we at the Halley's Comet Foundation have been quite pleased with our progress, but we also realize we've got a very, very long way to go to reach our objective, which is to have as many children as possible involved in our program. One of the first things we did was to establish a relationship, as mentioned earlier, with the New York State National Guard, which founded the Young Mariners of America program. We're able to get Quite a few young people involved from the 5 boroughs of New York as well as Connecticut involved in our program at Camp Smith in New York. It was an extremely successful program, and it was overseen and quite frankly conceived by none other than Lieutenant Colonel David Slocum. That was a very valuable program and a lesson for all the young people who were involved. Now with the boat in La Paz, Mexico, obviously our work must continue, and it continues with the help of some very conscientious young people here in La Paz and some of the community's leaders. They brought some young people right here in La Paz on board, where we developed an expedition right along the coast of La Paz to see the waters that sustain them, their fathers as fishermen, and others of those in the maritime industry. It was called the Baja Expedition. As we're all aware, gangs and gang violence have become an epidemic that has swept not just the United States, but swept the world. I came up with a concept well over a year and a half ago, not terribly original concept. It's really based on the success of previous programs, called Gangs at Sea. The concept was very simple. Take adversarial gang members from one faction or another, Bloods, Crips, whatever the set might be. Put them on a boat. Teach them the basic fundamentals of sailing. Watch them as they overcome their differences and their different hood credos and their different gang mentalities to begin to pull together as a team. Some months ago, we experimented and we put our first Gangs at Sea program together, took 12 gang members, all from different factions, put them on board the Irving Johnson out of San Pedro and sailed them to Catalina and back over a 3-day period. The first night, as you might well imagine, with adversarial gang members, it was hairy. We never knew when it was going to blow, but we knew there was dynamite and matches on board, figuratively or metaphorically speaking. The second night, they were pulling together like a trained crew, like a regimented military crew working together. The third night on Catalina, they were on Catalina Island, sitting around a campfire, roasting marshmallows and singing sea shanties. If you can believe that, of Bloods and Crips, it happened. The big question is, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs for these young people that go through the Haley's Comet Foundation program, that take additional training at one of the maritime institutes? Where are the jobs? You know, at first glance, you'd look around the world of the maritime industry and say, well, there are not really that many jobs available. Nothing could be further from the truth. Most international commerce is carried out by ships at sea, and the ocean can be used in many, many ways for national defense. This offers jobs and careers in shipping, the merchant marines, the Navy, and Coast Guard. Recreational boating is another world in and of itself. That world provides an enormous variety of jobs and careers, as well as the growing popularity of aquariums, marine parks, museums, marine service centers, marine science centers, sanctuaries, boat building, boat selling, boat racing, marine operations, sport fishing businesses, and tourism, all of which offer numerous possibilities for employment. And for those who live near the lakes and the inland waterways, lakes and rivers offer situations for a maritime-oriented job seeker. In addition to the usual recreational and shipping businesses, fishing and tour operations, there's also a need for drawbridge and canal lock operators. To those young people whose minds are open enough to take advantage of the opportunities being offered through our Haley's Comet Foundation program and through these other various entities that I mentioned, like the Coast Guard Auxiliary, etc., they can discover a whole world, a world of possibilities that they never even dreamed about. I know I have through my experiences, and Lord knows, as young as some of these young people are, the world is truly theirs. All they've got to do is keep their mind open to all the possibilities that are out there in the maritime industry. If you'd like to make a contribution or a donation to the Haley's Comet Foundation, there's a very easy way to do it. And there's a way to do it that will provide you with a totally legitimate tax-free deduction. Haley's Comet is a licensed, nonprofit foundation. Think about this. Give your family a vacation aboard our flagship, Haley's Comet. Enjoy cruising the Sea of Cortez with me, John Amos, as your captain and as your host. All donations and charter donations will be tax deductible. This is John Amos once again inviting you aboard Haley's Comet. Thank you.
Abi